So let's just have a quick recap over what we've done for the paintwork. Okay, what I've done after I did actually say this is sort of where I was going to leave it, I've come back as, you know, this does happen, looked at it and thought it's looking a bit dark, if I'm honest. It was still not quite where I wanted it to be, which is always not a bad thing to do. Just, you know, sometimes just leave it, come back the day after, fresh eyes and all that, and then just have a look and assess where you're at. So basically what I've done recorded a bit of this, so you'll probably see it on the video. Took the last colour that I was using, and what I've done is I've yellowed it up basically. So I've took a bit of lemon yellow and a bit of pale green and whacked that into the mix and thinned it down, just to, I suppose, warm it up a bit. You know, give it this like sort of light greeny, you know, colour, yellowy colour. I know it's not strictly obviously how a Sherman would be, like we were saying before. There's loads of ways of doing hot olive drab, but my forethought was once you start putting washers on it and all the weathering, it's gonna pull it back in anyway. So if you start off with a dark base coat or it looks too dark, if you put, like, say, your dark washers on and then your other effects, it's going to make it even darker, and it's not quite what I was after. So I've done the sort of mottling technique again, using this colour just to brighten up some areas, make it look a bit sort of worn and tatty again. Is it realistic? No, probably not at all, but it adds a bit of interest to a pretty sort of monotone colour. So, you know, it's still darkish around the sides there anyway, so once the decals are on, and again I've kind of left it, I've just done some mottling and streaking and stuff like that, but again once the weathering starts to take place, it'll just pull it all together. So basically I'm going to leave it there for the paint. So just sort of do a quick sort of recap on where we're at with that. So like I say, next is going to be the decals. So I'm going to get them on now. They shouldn't overly be too much of a problem. I'm not going to spray the stars on or anything. There is, you know, you can do that if you've got the mass and stuff, and I think I might have, but I'm just going to use the kit decals. Dragon decals are normally pretty thin and pretty good, so they should adhere pretty well and settle down. So we'll do that. I'll do a little bit of I put decals on, just one star or you know, a unit number or something like that. So and then we'll come back and get it sealed up. So it's time to move on to doing the decaling. Okay, so in this kit we've got a couple of versions. Okay, and I've been doing a little bit of research and trying to find some pictures of said tanks. Apparently there are in some Sherman books by Osprey, I think it is. I have actually found the real picture of this tank. Okay. Problem we've got is in sort of Dragon's infinite wisdom, there's no serial number. Okay, and in the picture that I've found of this tank, there's a part serial number. You can see it's absolutely filthy, the tank, so I'm not sure what it is. Done a little bit more searching on the internet, blah blah blah, and I've got a part serial number with one digit missing. So what I've decided, and I'm not sure what this is. I mean, somebody said it's a pig, but I don't know if it's just a worn out star, if they've scrubbed it away, painted over it. Again, it is in the picture and it's like that, but I would have thought, they're saying on this, the instructions here, to put it on both sides of the turret. Well, it wouldn't. I don't think it would be the same. It doesn't look like some symbol or whatever that you'd put on a tank. I don't know, like I say, if it's just a worn away star, that's what's left of it. I don't know. I couldn't tell. So better part of thing, I'm going to go for this version here. So literally there's two decals. You can either do 114, 113. I'm going to stick with 113. Apparently these were hand painted numbers on. There's no other unit markings on it. It's saying it's obviously from the 11th Armoured. So there was a reference of there's a worn out star here. Again, I don't know, it's all a bit vague. So I don't 100% trust these, but unless I can't find anything more concrete, so I'm just going to run with this. It's going to get, like I've said before, weathered and whatever else. I don't think it's really going to matter. But so basically, 2 decals I'm going to have to put on, which suits me fine because I absolutely hate decaling. So typical Dragon decals are actually not too bad, I don't think. They're normally pretty good, pretty thin. So just recap of what I've got. So bit of microsol for anybody not decaling, pair of Tamiya decal scissors, which I absolutely love, pair of tweezers, Q-tip, earbud, and a brush, and that's about it. So basically we'll do both at the same time. I don't know if these numbers are separate or not, but we'll soon find out. So what we'll do is just quickly just give them a soak in a little bit of lukewarm water. Okay, just to get that bit. It needs to be in there long. As soon as that changes colour of the paper, we'll pull that out. Just let it soak on there. So give that a minute or two just to come loose from its backing. Bit of salt. Turret the white way around. And for no tracks on, we can just lean it up. So, here we go. So I'll just show you one side. Let's see if they're coming loose yet. That's fine. So the 2 ones, oh, it's all separate, so that's fine. Okay, so you just have to line them up and put it on. So what I'm going to do is take a bit of salt, put some in the area needed. There's no gloss coat on this apart from what was in the paint, but it is a satin finish. So alright, so what we'll do is we'll just shimmy them into place. Okay, not taking much care on which sort of. Okay, hold on, we have a bit of breakage. These are super thin decals, I'll give them that. That gone. Okay, there it is. So my pet hate is absolutely decaling. That's why. We can do something with that, I think. Let's see what we can do with these then. Let's have a look where they are on the actual tank, and we'll try and cobble the 3 back together. If you need to use a bit of water, then use a bit of water as well. So that bit. So again, don't panic if your decals disintegrate like mine have. There's always a way of getting around it and fixing it. So there we go. Alright. Got a bit of salt. Put a bit over the top. Which will then just soften it, settle it in. And there you have it. There's 113. So all I'll do is do the other side, get that on, and then we can put a coat of sealer on it. Okay, just press any moisture at the decal so it settles, and then just leave it to dry. There we have it. There we go. So just before we move on to doing some varnishing, what I've done is, after I put the decals on, I've let them settle overnight, come back, and what I've got here is Panzerracer stencil. The decals of the kit are a bit transparent, if I'm honest, plus as well these numbers apparently were painted on in the field, so what I've done is just took a bit of stencil and literally just gone over them just to fill them in a bit more, make them look a bit more, I suppose, rough, painted on both sides. So that's now dry, so we're going to move on to putting a quick satin coat over it before we start weathering. So for that I'm going to use this AK satin varnish, which I quite like. I think it's quite a nice product. I've already got it just knocked together in a little tray, which I've thinned with just a bit of airbrush thinner, just for layer. Alright, we've got that consistency of milk, as they say. So there we go. Back onto the old Fateful Evo brush, which just give a quick clean. So usual thing, quick test. It's working fine. So nice even coats. Don't want to get it too wet, but we want some on it, so if it gets a bit awkward, could do with some sort of holding device, I think. Really put this on. No half-hearted attempts with this stuff, just get it on and it will just dry nice and satin. Ready for the weathering, so nothing fancy here at all. So I'm going to give the running gear a coat as well. Blast it in. Okay. Job done. Let that dry. As you can see, that's drying off nicely. Get a nice satin coat with that. So I'll see what that dries like. If it needs another coat, I'll give it another coat. But again, it's already gone over a satin coat, so it should be fine. It's really just to seal everything in. So yeah, okay. I'm going to leave it at that. Let that dry. Have a bit of patience, and when we come back, then we can start with the weathering process.